So, got a quick bonus for y'all because we left one more thing out. What is the horror stories that you dealt with here in this school?
So because living in Japan is very different from being in America or any Western country, I think. So we have seen some students experience panic attacks. So and it was really scary for us because this person was so scared that this person just stayed in their room, right? And we didn't know what was happening inside. So and because there's a language barrier, it's not like we can always emotionally support you, right?
Right.
So that's why one of the things that we definitely wish you to be prepared is to be mentally healthy before you come here. If there's something you're going through, it's best to wait for like a better timing, or if you have local support, like if you have local friends, I think staying here would be a lot better. So that definitely the emotional side might be something that is challenging.
So, because you got to give some, because you're saying prepare, right? But we can't tell them prepare and they don't know what to prepare for. What are some things that they will experience here uh, that could cause panic attacks or stress or high level anxiety? What are some things that could trigger that?
So one of the things would be maybe loneliness, because Japanese people don't really, they're not as social as Westerners. They don't say like hi, they don't say konnichiwa to a stranger, right?
Right.
And so you might feel lonely easily, and people are shy. So and especially if they can't speak English.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if they want to talk to you, they're like they really want to talk to you, but if they cannot speak English, and if your English or if your Japanese is not so good yet, then they're gonna be too afraid to talk to you. So it's not like they want to do it, but because everybody's shy,
Mhm.
you might feel it very difficult to connect with people at first when your Japanese is limited. So that could cause loneliness, and for some people that could cause a panic attack or something, right? Or uh what else? There was one more thing I was thinking.
Why you think about that? It was another one I could share too. That I kind of can dealt with a little bit because communication, that's the big one, trying to immerse yourself in the culture and the communication. Another one, it's not a big of an issue, but it's there, is some people have their certain perspective on the Western culture, and it's more so from a political thing, or somebody from the Western culture came out here and did something to their family, rather it was rape, hit their car, because if you do one little thing, they kind of run it across the board. Is everybody is that way, and sometimes certain people who come over here and try to do the right thing, and you have certain ones. I'll tell you this quick story. I had this guy. Salute to Al. He married a Japanese local. They've been married to this day, still good relationship. But one of the issues that he had was trying to get along with her parents because they had the whole, stereotype, whether somebody done them wrong or them political views. Um, because Japan is a prideful country as well, and he had to fight that barrier. So I will say that too, like that political mindset that you have to deal with people here in this culture. That's something um, you have to keep in mind as well. So back to you. What was it that you thought of?
So the other thing was wait. So yeah, at first, when you come to a new culture, it's like the honeymoon phase, right? Everything's new, everything's fun. But then, you have the the fall, and the tests can sometimes be, challenging, right? Because if you're in the comprehensive class, which where you learn writing and reading, there's gonna be a lot of tests. So if you've been away from university, that could be something challenging. Yeah, so it's good to yeah, know how to um, control stress. Yeah,
Right,
especially like here, because there's not going to be a lot of people you can talk to.
right. And I think that is something that y'all have to keep in mind too. Um, But again, before we rotate, you're half American yourself, right? And I'm pretty sure you've dealt with, and it's kind of within a relationship, honeymoon, and then it goes downhill, and then you got to get back to the point where you find peace, as far as embracing the good and the bad. What are some practices that you've done to get to that point? Because you passed the honeymoon phase, you dealt with the downside, so now you're at this sweet spot where, okay, this is what it is, and this is how I can maximize it for or make it work for me. What are some practices that you do that some people can take away to help them when they come out here?
So, well, I try to after the downhill, right? I made some time for myself to look back at what I enjoyed, and then the things that I don't enjoy. So I try to analyze it and think about why I reacted in that way. And yeah, when I gave myself enough time to think about where that difference or whatever challenge that I experienced came from, when I knew the reason, then I had the ability to be more understanding about the differences that maybe I didn't really like. um, and of course I would appreciate what I liked as well. So I think the big word is time. You need time
Yeah.
to process that, and it's also important to know it's normal to do this, so you
Right.
don't have to feel like you're a horrible person or anything, because it's totally natural, and almost everybody's gonna go through it. So yeah, just giving yourself space, I think, would be the most important thing.
Right. I think this is actually equivalent to life, because there are going to be phases of good, and then there's going to be those phases where everything is bad. And even in good and bad is subjective, right? Because all those coexist hand to hand. So take that perspective in your life, right? You're going to have them good times and those bad times, but then you got to find peace within both of those realms. So, more on the way. Stay tuned. Yeah. Uh huh. So look, check this out. All right. Now I'm gonna, include a little bonus in here for y'all. I'm gonna take y'all to the apartments that they have here, for their students and stuff like that. So I'm gonna take y'all on a quick tour and show y'all what they look like. So if y'all want to come here and live in these apartments, y'all see what they look like. Um, and I think I don't think I got the cost from her, but I get the cost from her, how much they cost later. But I'm gonna show y'all. Yo, Pedro. What's up, my man?
Hi.
All right, first thing first, as y'all see,
Yes.
I forgot the term for this.
Yes.
It's a Japanese term for it, but
Yes, you have to.
you take your shoes off at the door, and then you gotta turn them that way.
Exactly.
Yup. So, gonna go ahead and go to the tour.
Okay.
All right, as y'all see right here, this is the cabinet. And this is the Okinawa honey here. Let me show y'all guys doing the honey. Okinawa honey right here. This is very popular here in Japan. Homemade honey. But this the snack cabinet, and then that's the cabinet where you have all your stuff in, like your cooking and stuff like, right? Then you got your refrigerator right here. Then you have your microwave. Microwave a little bit different, but it ain't hard to read. You just 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, and then how many watts, like how hot you want it, and then you cut it on. Then you got your sink. Now here's the difference in Japan. Like, I don't like this, but we gotta roll with it. So here in Japan, they only have 2 eyes. So for those who don't know, that's what an eye is. So I'm used to having like 4, or because I'm from America, as y'all know, I'm used to having like 4 to maybe 6 eyes, so I can get a lot more done. And I don't think you can't bake in here neither. So everything is done over the stove. So that's the downside to this.
Rice.
Then you got your workstation here. It's not big, but you don't need all that big long desks and stuff like that. This is effective. It's not anything too fast. Unless you a stock trade or something like that, and you got 6-7 different laptops or something, then you may have to. I think it's still big enough where you could put all them laptops or desktops on the table. I think it's still pretty big enough. But again, it's nothing too crazy. Now to the bathroom. All right, so the bathroom a little different. So you got your shower, then you got your toilet. Then it got the little rules. Y'all obviously keep it clean. And it got a little window where you can air it out, and a little fan where you can help keep it circulating, where your toothpaste and toothbrushes and hygiene products go. And then you got your sink. Now, one thing I want y'all to pay attention to, right now, for the men, since this one is for men only, couple of things with this tub, right? So it's no dividers in these bathrooms. So like, it's a lot of bathrooms. I'm pretty sure y'all used to having dividers where it have a tub in the shower where it can soak up the water, or at least like some little edge where all the water won't be leaking out over the floor and stuff like that. That's one thing. And then you got tiles in here, so you have to invest in your dehumidifier to keep the soap scum from building up on the walls, because this is mode to clean and stuff like that. So that's some things that you'll have to deal with this bathroom. So when you take a shower, water gonna get everywhere. I can just see that happening from a mile away. And if you're super tall, it could still work, but you probably gotta lean over a little bit because the light bulb a little too long for me. But it's there. Another thing, the toilet. Right? Toilet. Now, this toilet is a little bit, old, as you see, because it got like the paint coming up. That's not mold, that's the paint coming up from it. But it's a wide bowl. So, for men, this is actually a bonus for y'all, so you ain't got to worry about, a short bowl toilet seat where, because sometimes it be in the middle of the night and y'all got to pee, and y'all come to the bathroom and it's a short bowl. They can't catch all your pee. One of your eyeballs open, the other one closed, and then you trying to pee and you kind of missing the toilet seat, then splashed on your leg, or it hit the wall and stuff like that. So it's a wide bowl, so it can catch everything. Me, I prefer a wide bowl. I'm not, I ain't sloppy like that, but stuff like that happens when you have like a short bowl toilet seat. And then on the side right here, because usually you have a short bowl, the stuff go on the side. And here you ain't really got to worry about it too much, because the way they built it, it won't even catch it on the side. It just goes straight to the floor. And then you got this little AC in here. So y'all may be like, hey, he ain't got no fan. This probably ain't big enough. Trust me. This place is small, so that AC can really light up this, whole place if you give it time. It really can do it probably in like 10 minutes. So trust me, for those who are not anemics, who like the cold, trust me, it'll give you what you want. And then, last but not least, you got your balcony, right? So another thing in this place, they don't have a dryer. And a lot of places out here, in Japan, some do, because they gotta obviously, accommodate, the American culture and stuff like that. But the places that don't, you'll have to get a clothespin. They're very old school. Get your clothespin, and then you'll have to hang your clothes up outside. So for some people, I know he's old, but you gotta work with what you got in there. That's the washing machine right there, so it's outside. So everything you do, it gotta be outside. But luckily, there's a little edge on top, or a hedge, or a little extension of the roof, so it cover your head, and it can cover your clothes too, so you can air dry. And then it's the balcony where you can just look over. It crazy view here, but it's a peaceful view because it's not a lot of noise, not a lot of traffic, so it's pretty good. Last thing I want to tell y'all too, with these clothespins and stuff, sometimes they actually better than drying your clothes, because when you dry your clothes, they actually shrink faster. So you have a clothespin, right? You can hang them up and you can preserve your clothes a lot longer, because another thing with the dryer is it's so hot. Like you have shirts with designs and certain painting and stuff like that on it could fade faster. But if you put on a clothespin, you can preserve it a whole lot longer. So that's just a quick little tip for y'all. All right, so this was not gonna be long, but I just wanted to bring her real quick. This is the owner of this apartment here, not the apartment complex, but this actual, apartment, room or space, whatever you want to call it. So my first question for you is, naze anata hoshi desu koko ni kite Okinawa? So for those who don't know, it means, why did he want to come to Okinawa?
First of all, because since I was a kid, I practiced karate. You know karate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's supposed that karate born in Okinawa. So I'm very, very interested in Japanese culture,
Mm-hmm.
because karate. So because that I made that choice to come to Okinawa, and I enjoy this place.
So what's one thing you've learned from, being in Okinawa?
すみません、もう一度お願いします。Again.
I know, what's one thing you've learned from Okinawa?
One thing. Um, First thing, I don't know, maybe itadakimasu, otsukare-sama deshita. They Okinawan people, they are very, very kind. So maybe that kind of words. They are really nice people. So I don't know, maybe that kind of words. Itadakimasu, ganbatte, kyotsukete. I don't know. I think maybe that.
So I know, doing out there at school, more anata, how has school for you?
How is?
Yeah, how's school been for you?
School, it's a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of strange, because I am here 6 months. So first trimester maybe was very, very easy. So next trimester was a little bit difficult, because sensei teachers wants we improve our speed. They want that we think faster, we speak faster, we answer faster. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult, because maybe you don't know vocabulary, you don't know verbs. So sometimes it's sukoshi difficult. It's a little bit difficult, but also I am improved. I have been improved my Nihongo. So maybe sometimes I feel I don't know, I think maybe I feel sukoshi bad, a little bit bad, but I feel that I have been improved my Nihongo. So for me it's good.
So what are some study tips to help improve faster, like you said?
Only try to relax, enjoy. Don't I try don't to push myself. Only relax, and also accept. They have different language. They have different rules. So only accept, don't ask too much. Why grammar is this way and not another way? So I only try to accept and try to live his way, obey his rules, and that's it. And relax, enjoy.
Okay, so my last two questions. Do you speak Spanish?
Yes.
So you're on the way to being trilingual. Is it safe to say?
Yeah.
Ego, Nihongo, El Español?
Yeah, maybe. Hi.
So my last question is, what is your ultimate goal with being trilingual? What is your plans with speaking 3 different languages?
My goal is not speaking 3 languages. My goal is enjoy Japanese culture, because as I told you, I like too much Japanese culture. Now also I study shodo, calligraphy. I study calligraphy, so I like too much because for me, I don't know, maybe I don't know how to say this, because karate, I like too much philosophy. So my goal is not be a trilingual. Only my goal is my goal is understand Nihongo, because speak how to say, speak naturally, speak fluently Nihongo. So I want to do that. Also, I want to write nice Nihongo, nice kanji. That's why also I am studying shodo calligraphy. So my goal is only that. In Mexico, I was a lawyer. So to come here, I have to quit. I quit to my job to stay here. So I only want to enjoy in this moment.
Wow. That opens the door for more questions, but I'm gonna just leave it at that. I think that's a very interesting story of why did you give up being a lawyer to just learn Japanese. I think that shows a lot of dedication. Some people may be curious to what made you want to just sacrifice being a lawyer, because lawyers are very lucrative because they have so much knowledge and power and things like that. So I think that's a story within itself.
Yes, I don't know. As I told you, I only want to enjoy life and do what I want to do. So I also love be a lawyer. But in my job, I used to have too much to do job to do too much.
Too much work.
Yeah, too much work. Many papers to read many papers because I was I work in a court. It's I was a public servant, komuin in Nihongo, komuin. So many in Mexico we have many problems because that lawyers have many to do. So I don't know. Only now I am thinking in enjoy life in a good way, of course.
Got you. And they didn't get your name, but just the last thing is just tell them your name.
My name?
Yeah, just tell the people your name, because I didn't get your name initially.
My name is Pedro Diaz from Mexico.
Got you. And he will be living in Japan. So as you can see, he's working on living here permanently. But this is just the start of his journey. So, maybe we'll see him a few years from now, being a karate sensei or karate senpai, as they say. So, hey, back to regular program. I want to, do a quick little spin-off and add it in with what I'm already doing and just get a perspective on a resident who's already part of the school here. And so, yeah, back to the regular programming. Back at it for part 2 of this episode. I'm here with Melissa again, the ambassador for ICLC. So, because I know you had lunch, right? Before we get to our questions, I want to ask, what did you eat for lunch? And describe to the people what exactly is it.
Usually I eat out, but today happened to be a bento day. Bento is like a lunch box that you prepare. Most Japanese people prepare, homemade stuff. But if I'm just having lunch near school, it's gonna be in the curry house here, curry rice, or there's like an Eon Mall right there. So I would eat like udon, Japanese noodles, or sushi. Yeah, that's the popular lunch places.
Can you cook?
Yes, I can.
That's a bonus. That's a bonus. Because some people usually that works a lot, it's a mixture. Some can cook, some can't. So I just want that stuff. I do want to build on what we previously discussed in part 1 about like horror stories and dealing with the culture, right? So I've had my fair share of welcome to Okinawa moments.
Right.
So my story before I get to the questions is the reason what made me want to, have the initiative to start learning about the culture and learning the language, right, is because of McDonald's. Yes, McDonald's. So when I first got here, obviously I was in the military. So when I first got here, I was fresh from where I was from. I was from an urban city, so they don't necessarily speak the best English. You know what I'm saying? We use a mixture of slang. We're not in a situation where we have to use proper English. Or at least for me, unless I go to corporate or military. That was the only time in my life where I was forced to use proper English. But outside of work, I used to go to McDonald's. First time I went to McDonald's. And she did something where she bowed her head and she was like, hey, konnichiwa, which means, good afternoon. At the time I didn't know, I just did my head like that and I was like, what's up with it? And she looked, she like, huh? And then she made the face. I was just like, let me just like this. Let me go ahead and get 2 of them McDoubles right there so I can go ahead and smash on them. I get them to go. And she said, huh? Nani? Uncle there? And then I was like, yeah, I want 2 of them right here. And she was just so confused. And then she said, chuk, which means wait, chuk on my bed. So she went and got the manager. The manager's like, hey. So I'm already getting irritated. Because when you have to bring the manager, since now I'm already in the line for more than what I want to be. And he was like, he barely speak English himself. He just speak a little bit better than what she could. And he was like, what is it that you want? I want 2 of them right here. And he like, Nani? So one more time. And so now I gotta use proper English. I want 1 McDouble. Or, I want 2 McDoubles. And then I hit the point in the picture like a kid and circle it. And then every time I went to McDonald's, the same McDonald's in Chaton, their American Village, they just knew me. So every time they saw me, everybody went to the back. So they went to the back, and you know what that means. They like, okay, that's that guy who can't talk correct English. We already don't understand what he's saying, so who wants to take him? I already picked up on the body language. And you know when you messed up because one of the ladies will walk to the front, and she got to take a deep breath. She took a deep breath, she said, she was like, how may I help you? And I said, and I paused for a second too. My English was bad. Then not only I had issues with McDonald's at work, I used to have issues at work. I used to talk by text. So instead of saying, I used to walk back with like GM, what's up? Like when they ask you, like sometimes, like for example, one situation I had to spell white, and I know how to spell it, right? But I wasn't in a situation where I was forced to use it properly. So I used to put white as YT. And they was like, YouTube? So they thought I had YouTube. Or it's trying to say YouTube. I was like, no, that's how you say white. And they was like, spell white. And I can spell it, W-H-I-T-E. So my boss at the time, he pulled me in the office, right? And she was like, shout out to Gunny Gray. She was like, hey, she was like, what school system you from? So I knew I messed up right then and there because she looked at the computer too. I think she was looking up my school system. I told her where I was from, right? And my school is good, so I'm not going to disrespect my school. But she was like, listen, I'm getting a lot of complaints from customers and your friends and workers, employees. They don't know what the hell you're saying and know what the hell you're typing. She was like, I'm really this close to putting you in English class. Like, I'm trying to find an English class. So I felt so dumb right then and there. And she was like, look how you sit it. And I was in the chair like this.
Oh, wow.
Like, I really felt like I was in detention. And she was like, you know how to spell and actually say it, but this ain't where you from. It's not about where you're from. It's where you at. She was like, you gotta start using it the correct way. And so she was like, you gonna go to this English class, I'll put you in this English class, and then you gotta come back. And I think she was trying to scare me a little bit, which I wasn't scared, but she was like, they'll have a bus pick you up every morning and take you to the class. It's your short bus. So I think she kind of called me retarded on the low. But that's what made me say, you know what, I'm gonna start immersing myself and, learn about the culture, which leads me to my first question, right? So, because there's one thing, especially younger people, they always ask about, like, they're going to ask about the dating life, what's the food life, what's the nightlife like, what's it like, just traveling around in the area. Not more so on the formal side, but on the entertainment and recreational side. What has been your experience like, and what are some things that you learned that you can help people deal with once they come here about, dating life, nightlife, spending money, traveling, everyday recreational and entertainment purposes?
So I see a lot of students, well, especially Western students, and some of the Asian students, who are, a little bit older. They would enjoy, pubs, going to pubs or the local bars in Coke section, where, people here are pretty open. They open up more when they're drinking, right? So that's one of the ways that they would enjoy interacting with local people. And well, that's like more in the night. But like during the day, a lot of them would interact with local people, make friends through local, groups. Like there's some people who join ASA dance groups. It's like the type of the drum group, the traditional drum dance group. So through things like that, they formed, friendship with local Okinawans or Japanese. So I think, these are some things that students, if they come here, they can be a part of and, enjoy the life outside of school.
So are there any programs or any of those activities that y'all brought to the school that y'all offer to the students as well?
Yeah.
Like field trips or anything like that?
Right. Yes, we have one event per semester. So every one semester is three months. So we have a some kind of event like beach party event, bus tour, going to the shrine, wearing a kimono kind of event. So we have those once every term, like a big school event. Other than that, we have optional events like we would take students to, I mentioned the Bingata Dai studio, or they might also join like a traditional dance lesson or something, or like a craftsman, making pottery, stuff like that. So we do have these smaller optional events as well.
Gotcha. Can you share any collaborations or interesting partnerships that ICFC have agreed to help the school?
Partnerships as in like with other schools? Or?
It could be other schools, restaurants, tea ceremonies, like what partnership do y'all have?
Well, one of the recent ones is the Bingata Dai. So if you're into art, that would be something that I think you would enjoy. Other than that, we're still trying to build more partnerships with outside groups, but we have a ASA group that always comes to visit us and performs for our students. And some students, after they see the ASA performance, they join that group. So we do have these partnerships here and there, in different genres.
So, because you mentioned this earlier about the partnerships, and y'all are trying to collaborate more with other entities. You mentioned earlier about mental health as well. That's one of my concerns, and some of the other people may have this concern as well. How are y'all? What partnerships are y'all making? Or how are y'all investing to address the mental health issues that come across, people who study abroad?
So if it's like an academic, stress or something you're going through academically that's challenging, then you can always talk to your home teacher. So if it's about studying or if you need advice on how to study better, you can talk to the teacher. If it's something other than that that's related to daily life, then we always we invite this. He's like a mental therapist. So we invite him every April usually to do a little, lecture about the things that you would experience in your first year in a different country. So he teaches about cross-cultural, how your mentality changes throughout the year in different cultures. So we give that kind of opportunity where students can be aware that they might go through that. And other than that, the students can, find, or personally connect with that person and, maybe consult if they ever have that kind of challenge. They can always find English-speaking therapists in Naha, or sorry, not Naha, but Okinawa.
Okay, and for those who don't know, Naha is basically the downtown of Okinawa. So my other question is, do y'all create a space here for students to display their talents in educational yet entertaining way?
Whenever we have school events like a speech contest or the graduation ceremony or even the beach party, we let the students be free, right? So a lot of our Nepalese students, South Asians, right? They like dancing, so they just take over the stage and they're like dancing crazy. So they do that kind of thing. Or if it's like during a kind of graduation ceremony or speech contest, we would have like a intercession. Is that how you say it? Like between speeches, we would put like an entertaining, some kind of a performance done by students. Yeah, so the students who want to perform something like piano or their cultural, dance or singing, they always have an opportunity to do that in one of the bigger school events.
Gotcha. So can you name a memorable moment where you've had a student get inspired or did something that was life-changing where based off the stuff they learned from the entertainment of the school?
Well, there was a Uchinanchu festival. Have you heard of this before? Uchinanchu festival. It's like all the descendants of people who have Okinawan ancestors. A lot of them immigrated to other countries like America, Hawaii, South America, Brazil. So they would come to Okinawa to have this huge festival to celebrate Okinawan culture and Okinawan roots. So we had a student from Mexico who joined that huge event, and she was interviewed in Japanese, and she was sharing because she was an ASA dancer. So it was a pretty big moment for us because we felt really honored that one of our students was interviewed in that show. Right, and it wasn't just her Japanese that was getting really good, but she was able to share about her passion about the ASA dance thing, and it's connected to the local Okinawan community. So it was really nice to see that language learning has helped these foreign students to connect at a deeper level with the local culture.
So you're speaking of culture, right? Because it's going to be interesting. You're a part of a different culture in a way, more so on the interracial side, because you're Japanese American, right?
Yes.
What parts of your culture, Japanese American interracial, what part of your culture that makes you unique and or particularly interesting?
My culture,
Yes.
as in which one? I have to, but
It can be both.
both.
Yeah.
Or what makes this mixture interesting, maybe?
Yes, or you're unique.
Well, I never felt like I belonged to like just one of them, because when I went to the States, I felt really Japanese. But when I'm here, I feel I'm Westernized. The way I speak, my mind, because it's not so natural that Japanese people express their mind. Right? So even to somebody older, I would say, no, I don't agree with you. Like I would say that in Japanese, but that's not very common. So when I do things like that, I can see myself. I have that American
Right.
I guess spirit to speak up for what you believe in. But then when I'm in America, I realize I'm not as how should I say it? Not casual, but I realized how formal I was around people, especially if I don't know them pretty well. But then Americans like, hey, like the stranger randomly talks to you in the supermarket. I was not used to that. Or on the plane, like the person next to you will suddenly start a conversation with you. So I was not used to that. So I was like, that was the moment I was super Japanese. So it's like, yeah, as a mixed person, I see what I like about being mixed is that I can see the advantages or the strengths of both cultures. And I always think, oh, if it's a mixture of both of them, it'll be such a good balance. So I guess because I'm mixed, I'm able to see not just see the bad side and judge that Japanese is like this or America is like this, but I'm able to see the good in both. Yeah, so that's why I enjoy. Maybe that's what's unique.
Gotcha, because you mentioned too off camera that you are religious and spiritual person as well. So what are two practices, one on the Japanese side and one on the American side, that you learned and took and incorporated into your life that are very sacred to you and very important to you?
Deep question. So from the American side, I really love that the American spirit is about standing up for what is right or what you believe is right, and not being scared to express that, and not being scared of what other people might think of you. So I really like that strong spirit that Americans, that I see a lot in Americans. But for Japanese, my Japanese side, I like that samurai mentality, where once you decide you're gonna, maybe like follow, I don't know, a general, like back in the samurai days, if you're loyal to one general, you would die for that person until the end. You follow that person and and respect that person until the end. So I like that loyalty that the Japanese mentality has. So and I think that's one of the things that makes connections between people deep. Although it's small, like it's not easy to casually connect to people, but once you're connected, it's so deep, and it's very long lasting. So that's something that I cherish, I guess, about my Japanese or Okinawan side.
So have you had any struggles where people's like, okay, Melissa is strong-minded and loyal, and been to a point where you felt that it was abused? Here we go.
Abuse, and maybe not as much as abuse, but well, I know sometimes people want to speak through me, like Japanese people or Asian people or friends would want to speak through me because they can see that I will speak my mind, and if I speak to people who are older than me, I'm not afraid to do that.
Right.
So they would try to speak through me, and sometimes that could make me be in trouble, right? So I guess that would be one of the drawbacks of being so outspoken in an Asian community. But I'm kind of happy to do that for them because I understand that it's not easy for them to speak up. check. So yeah, it's not been a problem for me so far.
Gotcha. So I got 3 more questions before I let you go.
Okay.
So, what is the most memorable experience that you've had here in Japan? And since you're American too, because you're a mix of both, what is one memorable experience you've had in America?
In America. Both.
Japan.
Okay. In America, when I was an exchange student, my first time living in America for long term, there was a time that I had a host family, but this one day I was going to like this it was like a choir practice for the school choir practice, and it ended pretty late, and I was waiting for a ride back home, and my host family lived really far in the mountains, so I was like just waiting, and then I didn't get any reply from the host family because she was actually in an accident. So, I didn't know what was going on. I was just alone, like sitting on the ground, and then all these American students are like looking at me like, "Are you okay?" But like, in Japan, people would not be so how should I put it, like they wouldn't be so much caring, especially in Tokyo, because there's so many people, right? So, they would just like ignore you. That person's probably doing whatever she's doing, then just go do their thing. But in America, or in that community at least, so many students came to me and asked like, "Are you okay? Like, you need a ride?" And it was just this very genuine kindness that I experienced there. It was in the countryside, so maybe it was even more stronger, but. Yeah, I really appreciate that kind of openness. Like even if you're a stranger, they're open to help you.
Right.
Yeah. But in Japan, if you're a stranger, they might help you, but not so many people. But if you're a friend, you already have a relationship, then they will definitely help you. So it's a different kind of dynamic. Yeah. And to share my experience in Japan or Okinawa, I like how Okinawans are chill. Yeah, or maybe I don't know.
Maybe for me.
Yeah, compared to Japanese, like because I lived in Tokyo for 10 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, people there were super stressed out. Like in the train, they're like half dead, kind of spirits out, kind of, and nobody could think about other people. Right? Although you're physically so close, you're in your heart you're so far, kind of feeling. So I kind of felt lonely there. But
this is adult, right?
This is adult, yeah.
Like in Tokyo.
Yes, yeah. This is in Tokyo.
She kind of told you her age, low key.
Yeah, so Tokyo, yeah. But in Okinawa, I came back. It's been like 3 years after I came back here. People are a lot more chill, and that's one of the biggest differences between mainland Japanese and Okinawans. We're surrounded by the ocean. We are surrounded by all kinds of different people. Americans, Chinese, Koreans. Other countries. So and like people like me, it's not. It's common to see people like a mix. So people are not so judgmental, and I just feel like they're more chill to talk to you. You can have a random conversation with a local Okinawan lady. Of course, you need to learn Japanese, but
Right.
yeah. But if you know Japanese, then you can really experience that difference.
Right. So, because you've been around a decade plus, this is a seasoned woman here, so I ain't gonna tell her age, tell y'all her age. Y'all gotta ask her yourself. But since you've been here a very long time, what's something you could have a do-over? If you had a do-over in your life for a particular moment or time, what would it be? Because right now, this is an important question because it could save somebody's life or give them, something very valuable.
Maybe that's hard because the way I think is all the failures that I went through has a meaning. So I don't really think I need to do anything over. There's a lesson that is learned, but I don't.
Give a lesson learned.
A lesson learned. Okay.
Can't be scared.
Can't be scared.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. think what would be a good episode? Do over. This is hard.
I know one time you mentioned how when you was younger, you went to the club and stuff a lot, and you used to drink a lot. Would there be something like, what was the lesson learned?
No. Thank you. Yes. I mean, that life is so past me that I couldn't even think of it. Yes, so, when I went to Tokyo from Okinawa, Okinawa is like more in the countryside of Japan, and a lot of people want to go to Tokyo to, start a life, experience, I guess, or grow their career, experience like this entertaining life and stuff. So I went to Tokyo for university, and although I went there first because I wanted to grow myself as a better person, right, to get higher education and everything. But I ended up being with friends who were kind of like playing around. Of course, they were studying too, but then they didn't. I felt like I had a stronger purpose for studying in university than they did. So at first we were just friends, but then they started going out all the time, club, drinking, and I just followed that for like a few months. And then one time I was like, I felt like this is meaningless. And I feel, this is like an inspiration, right, from above. I'm like, wake up! You're not here to just play around or waste your time. Of course, for some people if that's their purpose, it's fine. But that was not my purpose.
Right.
So I was like, no, I want to make my life better and make it meaningful. Make this time in Tokyo meaningful. So I guess that's something a big change that I had.
So, this is my last question before we conclude. I usually like to flip it for my guests. So, if it's one question you would want to ask me, good, bad, indifferent, I'm not being insecure, let's get to it. What would it be? One question you would ask me.
One question I would ask you.
Yes. What did you want to ask me? And it can't be like, can I have $20 or $2,000?
Okay. What brings you to dig deeper about Okinawa?
What brings me to dig deeper about Okinawa?
Or Japan.
Or Japan?
Yeah.
Me, I'm usually, anyway, a much more, I don't know the word for it, but a curious person. I'm not that curious where I have a, wild ambition where I, go crazy and start enjoying stuff, because my curiosity went too far. But if I'm going to, because this is the place, like I said, like, living here for a long time,
Right.
and, I go into, which I still do business, like, with the community, as far as speaking and blogging and stuff like that, that if I'm gonna have to share space with y'all, then I'm gonna have to understand, y'all on the deeper level. And I think a lot of times, like my experience dealing with Japanese, right, they want to connect on the deeper level too, because of me that I'm very I'm very authentic. And I hear stories all the time how Japanese come up to me and they tell me like, yo, like, you scared me at first. Like, I was scared of you at first. And they was like, yo, like, you cool, like, like, you smart, like, they always compliment me and stuff like that. So me just trying to, understand, because again, I'm in the people service business. You can't win in the people service business if you don't understand people. You know what I mean? So that's just really what made me want to understand, Japan or Okinawa on the people level. And if you're gonna be anywhere anyway, anything in my life, or advice for anybody, anything that's in your life or any place that you're at, you want to know. I'm not saying know everything, but you want to be aware of what's going on at all times in your life, whether it be mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, even the land that you want. You want to be aware of not only just the history, but just of what's just going on. You don't have to know everything, but just have a general synopsis or a general idea of, okay, this is what's going on. It's fast paced, it's slow paced. This is where the best spots, this is where the bad spots. You know, people tend to do this, people can do that, people can't do this. Like you just want to be, you never want to be in a space where you're underwear, because like I said, if you're not in control, you're out of control.